Hey everyone, we have some exciting news to share with y'all today. Blayne has been discharged from the hospital and we
Woo!
are finally home. I just want to apologize for not updating everyone sooner, but our lives have been a bit crazy and a bit of a whirlwind over the last few days. So let's back up and let's fill you in on some of the details.
So the last time we updated you, Blayne was anxiously awaiting her new stem cells. Like we said before, actually receiving stem cells, it's pretty uneventful. So the new stem cells were just pushed through her central line, and then we just waited for her new stem cells to enter the blood, make their way to the bone marrow, and start making new blood. So this process is called engraftment, and it usually takes between 2 to 6 weeks to start seeing signs of her new cells taking over. Blayne received her stem cells from cord blood, so the doctors told us that it usually takes even a little bit longer for those cells to start engrafting.
While we're waiting for the engraftment, the doctors are constantly managing symptoms from the conditioning treatment, from the chemo, and new problems that can arise from transplant.
I want to make this really clear, especially for families who are about to go through a stem cell transplant. Blayne's experience that we're going to share with you is not the norm. We went into this experience, I don't want to say like expecting the worst, but we were definitely prepared for some of the not so fun things that could happen. We were expecting to be in the hospital 10 days for her conditioning treatment and then at least 30 to 40 days post transplant. We also expected her to experience a lot of pretty nasty side effects from the chemo and then the transplant itself. That was not the case for Blayne. She pretty much cruised right through the entire process.
Yeah. Looking back, she definitely had days where she wasn't feeling her best and had some mild side effects from the chemo, but she quickly started regaining her strength right around January 29th, which was about 12 days post transplant. We saw an increase in her white blood cells, and this can be a sign of engraftment starting to take place. The nurse practitioner didn't want to jinx us because sometimes there has some possible variables in lab work. So it was still very early to tell.
Right. So, to everyone's surprise, her numbers continued to rise each day. So, they could confirm that her new cells were engrafting. And then the doctors began to throw out the Homeward, which when they said home, we were shocked because this was still like 2 weeks after her transplant. We were ready for, 2 to 3 more weeks at least. And then they began getting a plan together and sharing the criteria for Blayne to be discharged.
So, in order for us to go home, Blayne had to be off any IV meds and feeds, which she never really needed. So, we weren't on them. She had been receiving a constant IV drip of a medication that prevented graft versus host disease. So, we had to switch her to the oral version. And most importantly, her neutrophils, which are a type of white blood cell that fight infections, had to be higher than 500 for 3 consecutive days.
On February 1st, her neutrophils made it over 500 and they just continued to rise from there. So that started our first day, it was on February 1st. Since everything happened so quickly, we had a lot of learning to do to prepare to take care of her at home. So we had to take some classes to learn how to take care of her NG tube. We took a class to learn how to take care of her central line because she'll still have that in for a while. And then we had to room in and practice giving her all of her medications just to kind of prove we could do it on our own.
We're capable adults.
We're still
parents.
We're still trying. Y'all, we have absolutely zero medical background, so we have been, or I can speak for myself, very overwhelmed. So that's why we failed to update everyone on coming home, because we just, as soon as we got home, we hit the ground running and became her full-time nurse. And we just feel like we haven't had a second to breathe.
Yeah. So on day 17 post-transplant, Blayne was able to come home. This is incredibly fast and, again, completely not the norm for transplant patients. Blayne was definitely an overachiever, and she was ready to get home and see her puppy dogs.
Apparently. Blayne still needs a lot of medical attention right now. So we are going to the hospital for checkups a couple times a week to adjust her medications. She's still getting lots of lab work done each time we go. She's still going to occasionally need blood and platelet transfusions as her body continues to heal. So we are by no means out of the woods yet, but we are right now so grateful just to be home.
Blayne's big milestone will be day 100 post-transplant. These first 100 days are very critical. This is when she'll be the most vulnerable to infections and illnesses since she is immunocompromised. We will be pretty isolated to keep her safe as possible while she recovers.
We want to take a moment and thank everyone for their continued prayers and support. I can't even put it into words. Your love and kindness really made this dark spot in our lives a little more joyful, and we are so grateful.
We will continue to keep you updated on Blayne's progress, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow Blayne's journey. And if you like the new haircut, make sure you like the video. Thanks.
Are you ready to go home? Yeah.